Hello, I'm Katie St. Ors, tax strategist, certified financial planner, and producer of The Deep Dive. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 32, and today we will do a deep dive into online accountants. We will compare QuickBooks Live, 1800Accountant, and bench accounting. This was requested by Robert in Naples, Florida. Okay, it looks like Elizabeth and Michael are all settled in, so let's get going.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. And before we dive in, I just want to mention that The Deep Dive is brought to you by Katie St. Ors. She's a certified financial planner, tax strategist, and the producer who makes this whole thing possible. This is Season 3, Episode 32. And this deep dive is specifically for Robert from Naples, Florida.
All right, Robert, this one's for you.
Robert, we heard you loud and clear. You're looking into online bookkeeping and accounting services, specifically bench accounting, QuickBooks Live, and 1800Accountant.
A common comparison these days.
Totally. So our mission today is pretty simple. Cut through all the marketing jargon and give you a really clear, unbiased look at what each of these actually offers. You know, the pros, the cons.
What's really under the hood? We've looked at info from the companies themselves, plus some pretty detailed comparison articles.
Okay, fantastic. Let's dive right in. Maybe start with bench accounting.
Sounds good. So Bench really positions itself as a way to simplify things for small businesses. They combine their software, which is pretty user-friendly, with actual human bookkeepers.
Okay, so software plus people.
Right. They handle your standard monthly bookkeeping, transaction categorization, that sort of thing. And if you're behind on your books, they offer catch-up services too.
That's handy.
And interestingly, their own site highlights income tax filing and advisory as a core service, not just an add-on like some comparisons might suggest. Plus, they mention help with tax resolution if you run into IRS issues.
Okay, so potentially more than just basic bookkeeping. What's the platform itself like? You said user-friendly.
Yeah, that seems to be a big focus. The platform gives you direct communication with your bench team, a place to organize documents. It automates data entry from linked accounts.
Like bank feeds.
Exactly. Bank feeds, credit cards. It helps categorize transactions, gives you real-time reports like your P&L and then balance sheet. And there's even a notification center for important dates.
It sounds like they're trying to make it less daunting for business owners.
That seems to be the goal. And they have a ton of resources too. A blog, webinars, templates, calculators, a tax resource hub, even a free course on understanding financial statements.
Wow, quite a bit of educational content there. So getting down to brass tacks, the cost, how does Bench price its services?
Well, the comparisons we looked at consistently mention a flat monthly fee. That's appealing for predictability, right? Small businesses like knowing what to expect.
Definitely. Predictable budgeting is huge.
Yeah. But, and this is a big but, Robert, you need to know that Bench was recently acquired by Employer.com. This is mentioned on their site and in the comparison articles.
Ah, an acquisition. What are the implications?
Well, the comparisons specifically flagged this as causing some uncertainty, concerns about stability, service continuity, that kind of thing. It definitely introduces a potential risk factor.
Okay, that's crucial context.
Incorporate right the first time. Trust Busy's 20 years of experience. Over 1 million entrepreneurs served since 2004. Launch your dream. Click the link below to get busy.
So summing up Bench, based on these sources, the pros seem to be that user-friendly platform, the dedicated team, clear pricing.
And the tax filing being potentially bundled or available.
Right. And the cons?
Primarily that it's focused on bookkeeping, so maybe less customizable than something like QuickBooks. Limited integrations with other software are mentioned. And, of course, that recent instability and some negative reviews linked to the acquisition.
Got it. Okay, let's pivot then. What about QuickBooks Live? So many businesses are already on QuickBooks Online.
Exactly. And that's the key angle for QuickBooks Live. It's bookkeeping support integrated directly into QuickBooks Online, or QBO as people call it.
So you stay within the QuickBooks world.
Precisely. It connects you with QuickBooks certified bookkeepers who work within your existing QBO account.
Yeah.
Seamless integration is the big selling point here.
Makes sense. What do those bookkeepers actually do?
The core service involves monthly tasks like reconciling your accounts, matching bank records to your books, categorizing transactions properly, and generating those standard financial reports.
And you get the reporting power of QuickBooks itself.
Yes, that's a benefit. QBO has pretty robust customizable reporting, and they use Plaid, which is common now, for securely connecting bank accounts to automate data entry.
Okay. Now pricing. Since it works with QBO, I'm guessing it's not just one simple fee.
You guessed right. You absolutely need a QuickBooks Online subscription first. That's a separate cost. Then on top of that, you pay a monthly fee for the live bookkeeping service itself.
And how much is that monthly fee?
It seems to vary. Forbes Advisor mentioned a range, possibly $200 to $400 a month, and indicated it might be based on your average monthly expenses or account balances, so potentially less predictable than Bench's flat fee.
Okay, variable pricing based on activity. Anything else cost-wise?
Yeah, there's usually an initial cleanup fee mentioned in the sources. That's to get your books in order before they start the regular monthly service. So, Robert, keep that potential upfront cost in mind.
Right, the QBO subscription, the variable monthly fee, and a possible cleanup fee.
Incorporate right the first time. Trust Busy's 20 years of experience. Over 1 million entrepreneurs served since 2004. Launch your dream. Click the link below to get busy.
Got it. Does QuickBooks Live offer any kind of guarantee?
Forbes Advisor did mention an accurate books guarantee. Basically, if they make an error in a month they've closed, they'll reopen it and fix it for free.
That's some decent peace of mind. So the pros for QuickBooks Live based on the comparisons.
The biggest one is obviously that deep integration with QBO. If you're already using it, it's smooth. Access to certified bookkeepers is another plus, and it's generally seen as scalable. It can grow with your business.
Real-time updates, too?
Yes, real-time bookkeeping and those monthly closures give you a pretty current financial picture.
Okay. And the potential downsides Robert should consider?
Well, the main one is needing that separate QBO subscription. That's an added cost layer. The variable pricing makes budgeting a bit trickier.
Right.
And some sources mention that the service level or reporting might depend on your specific QBO plan tier. Also, potential hiccups with customer support responsiveness and maybe bookkeeper turnover have been noted occasionally.
Okay, good to know. Let's move to the third option then, 1-800Accountant. This one sounds like it aims for a broader scope.
Yeah, that's their positioning. They pitch themselves as a more comprehensive, all-in-one virtual accounting solution. You get personalized support, often from a dedicated accountant, could be a CPA or similar professional.
So potentially a higher level of expertise assigned to you?
Potentially, yes. And their services go beyond just bookkeeping. They list accounting, tax prep, and filing, sometimes business and personal, depending on the plan.
Oh, interesting.
Business formation help, and even payroll support, though that's usually an add-on. They use their own software, too, called Client Books.
Client Books, okay. So if Robert wants more than just bookkeeping, maybe tax strategy or formation help, this could be appealing.
Could be.
Taxes stressing you out? Don't worry, 1-800Accountant is here. Expert help, affordable rates. Call 1-800Accountant today and leave the headaches to the tax pros. Click the link below.
They seem to target businesses looking for that broader financial partnership.
How does their pricing work? Is it tiered?
Yes, it's typically a tiered model. You might see plans named something like tax advisory, core accounting, enterprise business. And a key thing the comparisons point out is these often require an annual commitment.
An annual contract.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different from the others.
Right. And the starting prices vary by tier. Now, critically for Robert, the sources suggest that actual bookkeeping services are often only included in their highest price plan. They do, however, strongly emphasize that they help businesses save money on taxes through planning.
That annual commitment and the tier structure for bookkeeping are definitely things Robert needs to weigh. What are the main advantages highlighted for 1-800Accountant?
The big pro is that wide range of services: accounting, tax, formation, advisory. Having that dedicated accountant is also frequently mentioned as a plus.
A single point of contact.
Exactly. And while it's tiered, the pricing within a tier is usually presented as flat rate, which helps with budgeting once you commit. The inclusion of advisory and tax planning is a significant potential benefit too.
More strategic advice.
Right. And they claim flexible integration with various accounting tools, though maybe not as wide as QuickBooks.
Okay, what about the potential drawbacks or limitations for 1-800Accountant?
The Client Books interface is sometimes described as maybe a bit traditional, less modern.
Less sleek than maybe Bench?
Perhaps. And then there were those key points. Bookkeeping often only in the top tier, and that required annual subscription. Those are significant considerations.
Definitely. Okay, we've looked at them individually. Now, to really help Robert, let's try to compare them directly on a few key points. Core services, for instance.
Sure. So for core services, 1-800Accountant is broadest: bookkeeping, accounting, tax, formation. QuickBooks Live is focused on bookkeeping within QBO. Bench is primarily bookkeeping, with tax as an add-on or in premium plans.
And software integration, that seems like a big differentiator.
Absolutely. QuickBooks Live clearly wins here because it is QuickBooks Online. Bench uses its own platform. 1800Accountant uses client books but claims some compatibility elsewhere.
What about the human support aspect? How do they differ?
1800Accountant emphasizes a dedicated accountant, possibly a CPA. QuickBooks Live gives you access to QuickBooks certified bookkeepers. Bench assigns a dedicated bookkeeping team, so slightly different models of support.
And pricing models, just to recap.
1800Accountant, tiered, flat rate within tiers, but usually annual commitment. Bookkeeping high tier. QuickBooks Live requires QBO sub plus variable monthly fee plus potential cleanup fee. Bench, flat monthly fee, but recent acquisition raises stability questions.
Tax services seem crucial. How do they stack up there?
1800Accountant appears most robust, often including tax prep, filing, and advisory.
Taxes stressing you out? Don't worry, 1-800-ACCOUNTANT is here. Expert help, affordable rates. Call 1-800-ACCOUNTANT today and leave the headaches to the tax pros. Click the link below.
QuickBooks Live relies on QBO's tax capabilities, but filing isn't typically part of the Live bookkeeping package itself. Bench offers tax filing, but often as an extra or in higher tiers.
Makes sense. Reporting?
QuickBooks Live leverages the strong, customizable reporting within QBO. Bench offers standard reports via its platform. 1-800-ACCOUNTANT provides statements. With maybe more analysis in higher tiers, QBO probably offers the most flexibility there.
Okay, last comparison points. Scalability, ease of use, customization, integrations.
All right, scalability. QB Live scales with QBO tiers. Bench and 1-800 also offer scalable solutions. Ease of use. Bench often gets praise for being intuitive visual. QB Live uses the familiar QBO interface. 1-800's client books might feel less modern to some.
Customization.
QBO offers high customization. Bench is more standardized. 1-800 offers some depending on the plan. Integrations. QBO has the most extensive app marketplace by far. Bench integrates with some e-commerce payment platforms. 1-800 claims some, but likely fewer than QBO.
Wow, okay. That's a lot to digest, but really helpful side by side. So based on all this, Robert, if you're trying to figure out the best fit, are there general pointers?
Yeah, we can draw some tentative conclusions from the sources. If you, Robert, need that really comprehensive suite, bookkeeping, accounting, tax, maybe formation, and you're okay with an annual commitment and potentially higher cost for bookkeeping, 1-800-ACCOUNTANT is a strong contender.
Okay. What if he's already a heavy QuickBooks Online user?
The QuickBooks Live is probably the most logical choice for integrated bookkeeping support, assuming the cost structure works for you.
And Bench?
Well, traditionally, Bench would be for someone wanting streamlined, visually simple bookkeeping, maybe with bundled tax.
Right.
And it's a big but. Given that recent acquisition and the reported instability, you need to proceed with extreme caution right now, Robert. Really do your homework there.
So a caution flag on Bench currently. What about a strong tax focus?
If tax planning and filing are top priorities, 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, with its emphasis on CPAs and tax advisory, seems like the leader in that specific area among these three.
It really hammers home that there's no single best answer, does it?
Not at all. It completely depends on Robert's specific business, his budget, what software he likes, what level of support he needs.
So let's try to wrap this up for Robert. What are the absolute key takeaways he should walk away with?
Okay, quick summary. Bench offers simplicity, but that Employer.com acquisition creates significant uncertainty and risk right now. QuickBooks Live integrates beautifully if you're already in QDO, but remember the layered costs and variable fees. 1-800-ACCOUNTANT provides the widest service range, especially for tax. But bookkeeping is often only in the priciest plan.
Yeah, that covers the core trade-offs. The best choice really hinges on Robert's individual priorities. What should his next steps be?
Well, first, I'd suggest Robert really sit down and map out his current accounting process. Where are the pain points? What does he need solved?
Good starting point.
Second, set a clear budget. Think about the monthly cost, potential setup fees, and how costs might change if his business grows. Third, decide how critical integrated tax services are versus just bookkeeping, and how important integration with other tools he uses might be. Finally, and this is probably the most important step, book demos or consultations. Talk to Bench with caution, talk to QuickBooks Live, talk to 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, get a feel for their platforms, ask your specific questions, see how their support feels firsthand.
Excellent practical advice. So, Robert, hopefully this deep dive gives you a much clearer map of the landscape.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Okay, great. That's a wrap. I'm Katie St. Ors, and let me send out a huge thank you for listening. If you want more content on personal finance and small business, head over and find me on YouTube. You can also find me on Spotify, Amazon Music, TikTok, and Apple iTunes. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next Deep Dive podcast.